all the United and Tottenham fans have been waiting for. It's the match reaction. Nottingham Forest 1, Arsenal 0. Evening, people. Evening, people. We're back. It's the Armory TV. It's the match reaction to the FA Cup. Nottingham Forest 1, Arsenal 0. Lex, how you keeping?
Yeah. It wasn't too bad until that performance. You know what? I'm not too majorly upset.
No.
At first, I thought I would be, but I wasn't too major upset. But it's a shame we do this all the time. We have a great performance, and next performance, we don't step it up. Yeah. I don't know why. It's contagious. It just always happens.
I think that next stage is consistency, isn't it? It's can we put 5 of these performances together, and even when you're playing bad, then can you win those games? And yeah, it's just same old. Gunner King, you're in the building. How you keeping?
Yeah, man, all good, all good. Just not happy with today's performance. You know, I think like in spite of putting some young players out and some fringe players out, we were good enough to beat Forest, and we didn't. And we looked second best the whole 90 minutes. You know, even though like we had just under 70% possession. You know, which says a lot. Didn't register a single of our 10 shots on target. That's not good enough, you know, like, but I think looking at the silver lining, seeing the fixture list reduce or any potential one, we've really got to kind of focus on the league now and our league position. And I think if anything, that should strengthen our resolve to go out and get, you know, some more players in as well, especially in midfield and in an attack as well, because that's where we were short today.
Definitely. Silver Fox, how are you after that horrible result?
I'm battered. I'm bruised. That's why I'm coming out here today like John Cena. You can't see me.
We don't blame you. We don't blame you. But before we get into this properly, we're going to go through the comments because these men are having a field day and we're not going to hide from them. We're going to let them have their moment. You lot can have your moment. So, Mr. B, yeah, I can see your laughing faces. I can see you. We got Mr. K, unlucky guys. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise. You'll be more focused on fighting for the 4th spot. Without the depth in squad, you can fight for trophies. Gunner King, we're going to come back to that later because I know you was hot on rotating players for this game. So we'll come back to that comment because I know that's probably in line with what you were saying on the preview 2 days ago. 1 game week to end the season, you got top 4 on lock now, and that is the silver lining. Potentially, we can now just put all our eggs into the Prem. Obviously, we have got the League Cup still. That's what I mean. Depending on what we do in that game against Liverpool, you never know. But obviously, the focus long term will be Premiership. Where is Banson Bobblehead with his famous TikToks? I was like that name, Bobblehead.
Bambi Congo they come out all the time. They never know. They never learn. They never learn.
Yeah, for real, for real. We're gonna let them have their moment. Yeah, he's on to Sambula Conga in that one. Arsenal missing Robin Hood and Little John in the midfield. Yeah, we were missing something in there. Mr. K said we're missing the whole Avengers and the Hulk. You're having a field day. Man United fan, try to talk. You lot going tomorrow as well. Yeah, United fans are piping up early and they got Aston Villa. That's not going to be easy.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. They're going.
But all right, that's enough of these disgusting comments anyway. We might come back. We might come back to some of them a bit later. But now, guys, thank you for tuning in. Rival fans, we know you love coming when we get beat, but it's all good. We're still here. So let's go into the first topic. Nuno Tavares. Was he right to get subbed at 30 minutes? Do you think it had a positive or negative effect on the team? Well, we can see by the score at the end. And long term, what does that mean for Tavares, or is it just you've got to dust yourself down and go again? Silverfoot's gone. Go for him first.
I just think Arteta was trying to make a statement, whether it was right or not. I'm still undecided, to be honest with you. I see why, because he was very, very shaky, and I mean, throughout the game, we saw how good Spence was on that side. He was causing all sorts of problems down there, and maybe he decided, Tierney's probably the strongest defensively to deal with him. So I kind of get it. What message does it send? I don't know. It depends on the person.
Yeah. Lex, yourself, what do you feel? How did you feel when you saw him warming up? And obviously the pundits were saying he's going for more of an intense warm up. I'm thinking surely not.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, maybe it's an injury. And then it was like, no, he looks like he's moving fine. And even the commentators are saying he looks like he's moving fine. Like maybe this is tactical.
Yeah.
And yeah, then obviously he did. He hooked him.
Yeah, I mean straight away
So what's your thoughts?
when they said Tierney was warming up, I thought straight away he's going to take up Tavares off. I didn't even think Tavares was injured at that time. I just thought he's going to take him off because of performance. I don't think it was the right decision. I'm like Mr. Silverfoot said, it was a statement. But the thing is, where was the statement when other players were performing badly?
Yeah.
Where was it when, like, I mean, throughout this game, Holden, I think he did 3 bad misplaced passes, straight away when Tavares came off. So I'm thinking, so where's the statement there? Where's it when Xhaka was performing badly? Where was it when Partey was kind of going through that little low, and Aubameyang as well before he hooked him off.
Yeah.
It's kind of like he's making the statements, but sometimes he's not making the right statements with the right players. Look, Tavares in the first half, I thought, right, he's not up to speed. Spence that right back. I mean, he had a wicked game today, and I thought he was obviously troubling down that right hand side, and there was a few like kind of wayward passes from Tavares as well. But if you look overall in the game, I think it had little impact having Tierney on. I mean, Tierney defensively he's better, but I think I can't even blame it on Tavares. Why we lost that game. Overall, the players didn't step up. But I just thought he should at least left it to half time. And I just didn't think it was the right time to do it.
For me, I agree with that. I don't think they were causing enough trouble for it to warrant him coming off then. Yeah. I understand why he's doing it. Maybe it was a case of trying to put a rocket in everybody else's backside at the same time. And he had just done a couple of mad passes and whatever else. But for me, it's like...
But look at Holden. Look how bad he played. Look how he's not hooking him off.
Yeah, and I think if it was because the right winger was absolutely tearing him up, and actually if we leave you on any longer, we're going to concede, then I can kind of get it. But it was more of a quality issue of just some of the passes were going astray. And again, sometimes you might have to get him in at halftime, then have your word, and then say, you got 5 minutes to turn it around.
Yeah.
Do you want me to give him a chance? But again, he was playing on Arteta's side, and that was probably in front of him, probably frustrating the life out of him. And he probably, do you know what I mean? Again, you don't know what his instructions were for Tavares, and he might have been carrying out complete different instructions than what Arteta gave him. So it might not have even been to do with performance and passing. It might have been to do with shape or decision making, or I'm telling you, play forward and you keep going backwards.
The thing, sorry, Gonzo. The thing is, I can understand that. Like, I've got nothing against managers taking someone off early in the game because they're not performing well and they're not doing simple, basic instructions. But the problem is that this is half the season already gone, and at the beginning of the first half, he hasn't done that. He hasn't. When players are performing badly, he's kind of, especially this kind of like the senior players where he's kind of had, it almost looks like a bit of favoritism. Obviously Xhaka comes into my mind straight away. He hasn't made that statement, and I'm just thinking, all right, so if you're going to do this now, then I want to see this until the end of the season then, and I don't care who it is, because you might as well continue that on, because otherwise the players are going to look at that and say, well, I know I'm going to be safe.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Even if I start performing badly, I bet Xhaka kind of feels that. Oh, I know I'm going to be safe.
Yeah. Gunnar,
So
do you think
that's what I was annoyed about.
Yeah, sorry, Lex. Gunnar,
Yeah.
do you think it's an element of that is because that's the one position where we've actually got real cover and genuine competition, where actually I can not gamble with it, but again, you look all over the park. In my opinion, no one else was good. No one was good in that game. But the only other player I could say is coming on to better would be Lacazette, was the only other one who you could say will come on the pitch and be better than someone who started. Because again, you look Kolasinac, Chambers, a couple of youth players. Do you know what I mean? So the only one you could really have made a statement with was Nketiah or Tavares. And yes, Tavares wasn't playing well. But if Tierney was injured, say, and was only Kolasinac on the bench, do you reckon Arteta does that? Do you reckon Gunnar, or is it just a case of actually I've got Tierney there, let's just get him on?
For me, I agree with Lex. To be honest, I think it was worth waiting until half time. I mean, you know, he had made some lapses, but I just think they weren't really sufficiently threatening enough to look like we were going at half time a goal down. And I just think for the sake of like for me, I'm more about the longer game, like the bigger picture. Like he is young; it is his first season in England, and the Championship, relative to the Premier League, I'm not saying it's harder or higher in quality, but the intensity is a lot different, you know, to the Premier League. And I think I just think for the sake of kind of showing that you understand that, I think just it's better to hook him at half time. But look, we didn't lose because of that. We didn't lose because of Tavares. We lost because as a collective we weren't good enough, you know, and we didn't lose because of Arteta, because I think he set the team up okay. You know, other than that, I think maybe I don't rate Cedric, if I'm being honest. I think if we recall like Chambers' performances at right back last season relative to Cedric's, I don't see why he's not at least getting a chance to stake his claim at right back. Is there something we don't see or that we don't know in training that's happened? I don't know, but other than that, you know, like I think that lineup is good enough to beat Forest, and yeah, it doesn't really rest on Tavares. You know, performance in the first 30 minutes. I can see why he was hooked based on his performance, but yeah, I just think the timing of it could have been a bit better.
So yeah, 15 minutes till half time. Do that in the dressing room. No one has to see it. I don't think anyone even questions it. And again, if we go on and win that game, and Tierney gets an assist or does something, you think it was the right decision. But in hindsight, you're looking back now thinking, well, not saying Tierney done anything wrong, he was good, but again, didn't really bring anything extra where you're thinking, actually, we can see why he came on. Like, that's not a disrespect to Tierney. I think he did have a better performance than Tavares had, but again, it didn't amount to anything special. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it is what it is. But again, hopefully it doesn't affect Tavares too much. And again, it was to show a character to see how he bounces back from it. Because obviously he had a bad game against Liverpool and he bounced back pretty strongly after that. So hopefully he's made of the right stuff and will bounce back from it. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. Obviously, the result's not what you wanted, but for me, the more worrying sign was performance. I was saying behind the scenes just now, I think this is probably one of the first games where a team hasn't come to press us, and we looked like we was lost. We didn't know how to get around it. Again, what we saw a lot of is Ben White and Holding was bringing the ball out. There was no movement in front. No one was really wanting the ball. It's that teams are going to look at that and think maybe this is the way to beat Arsenal now. Actually, is it a way of sitting in and saying, "Come on, and come and beat us," and then they will make a mistake, and then we can punish them. So, do you think it's more down to Arsenal's lack of creativity and lack of intensity, or do you reckon that Nottingham Forest just played a blinder and nullified us and done what they had to do and catch us on the counter? Mr. Silver Fox, that goes to you first.
There was a combination of both, I reckon. City, Nottingham Forest clearly had a game plan. They obviously saw we had two young holding midfielders, if you like, in Sambi and Patino. Let's face it, they're inexperienced. We were expecting too much from them too soon, especially without the likes of Aparte or Xhaka next to them, or even an El Neni. And so often you see one of them three protecting the two centre backs and also helping them out when bringing the ball out. Obviously, you've seen when Holding and White can come out, they had nowhere to get the ball to in front of them. And often you saw Holding go off to the left hand side, try to pass it to Tierney or Martinelli, but the pace of Spence was too much for him, and you know, in a top game. On the other side, the game plan they were nibbling at Saka all game, and you know we've seen it. It's not just the only game we've seen it happen, but you know that was part of the game plan. Just keep nibbling, nibble, and that's all they did. And Cedric, well, I mean, the less said about him, the better, because he was atrocious.
I think you lot are being a bit harsh on Cedric. I think it was the attacking players are more at fault for me. There was nothing, and a game like that where they're compressing you the way they are, obviously the midfield couldn't get on the ball because it was his bodies in there, so they're dragging and trying to create space. But there was no passing from the defenders into the midfielders or attackers, like the higher players. And from there, it's meant to link and connect, and just nothing happened. You know what I mean? No one came and shown a couple of little balls over the top, but not enough. Like it was just, I felt sorry for the two centre backs. I really did, because there was just nothing for them. Like,
There was
and again,
nothing.
this season, if you look at the line of engagement, we normally get the ball off the back line from our keeper inside our own box, and teams are coming there. Whereas no one was engaging with them until they went over the halfway line. I just think that's just something we're not used to playing against, and we didn't know how to unlock it at all.
100%.
Gunnar, what do you think? And lack of intensity and know-how from Arsenal, a bit of inexperience, or do you think it was just Nottingham Forest to set up correctly and we just couldn't knock down?
A combination of all those things. I think, to be honest, I think you look at the players that started today, a lot of them are lacking somewhat relatively like in experience and match fitness as well. You know, where they wouldn't have like been necessarily players in there that are playing regularly game on game. So maybe missing that sharpness as well. But Forest, to a man, were just better. They wanted it more. They were more aggressive. They were, they didn't have as much possession, but what possession they did have, they broke quickly on the counter really well, and they deserved the victory.
Yeah, I agree. Lex, what do you think was missing? And I know obviously we've got a lot of personnel out. What do you think the big key miss was?
I think he's having an outlet up front. I think today shows that Nketiah, whether he signs a contract or not, I'll be happy if he with either not what basically just saying that I don't think we had enough quality in that position. But if you look overall with the first 11, that should be strong enough to beat Nottingham Forest. I'm not going to take it away from Nottingham Forest. I think they played quite well, to be honest. They played to their strengths, and we kind of, I don't know, we obviously didn't step up. Intensity wasn't there as well. And yeah, I think it's just that, like you said, that link as well. I mean, there was many times when both centre backs had the ball and there was no one there really to kind of, show up and receive the ball. And at the same time, going up front, there wasn't really anything going on there, to be honest.
And that's why I do feel sorry for Nketiah, because apart from the cross from Saka, and he should have done better with the header, it's not make two ways about it. Everything else he created it for himself. Like there was one where he beat to an edge of the box, got a shot off, he just off balance. Like he was working hard and trying in that final third, but there was just nothing. Even when we got down to the byline, there was like no bodies in the box. It was just quite stale, weren't it? Like I think ESR was a massive miss. Someone who's going to commit defenders and drive past people, like not with pace, but actually with guile to almost open up spaces. I don't think we saw enough from Odegaard today either. And it's them games where he wanted to grab it by the scruff of the neck. And again, this is probably just the type of game he doesn't like, where it is a lot of bodies in an area where he likes to play. It's quite a physical game. And he seemed like he was, he's tidy, but just didn't really do anything. Do you expect a bit more from him, Gunnar, in these kind of games?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to single out one player. I don't think, I don't think there was like an overwhelmingly bad performance from like a standout player. I just think there was just a low level of intensity and like just an average, like a tepid performance from everyone, like on the pitch.
Yeah.
I don't really think. I mean, Odegaard was doing all the right things in terms of like moving possession quickly in the first half. I felt, and put some decent passes in there, kept play like moving. He's not like a final action kind of attacking midfielder. Like he's kind of more involved in like the build up of things. I just thought when we were getting on the end of chances, I mean, 10 shots is a lot to have to not even get one on target. So they were getting chances, but
were they good quality chances? I can think of the Nketiah header was a good quality chance. Apart from that, I think it was a lot of half chances, a lot of shots outside the box. Nothing really major. I don't think obviously the keeper didn't make it, but I don't think apart from the header, there was nothing else where I'm saying we should have done better with. So I think it was again. I think it's all around collective, isn't it? It wasn't just one thing. At all. Silver Fox. Anyone you think was hugely missed? And actually, let's let you get on to Holden as well because I know you're going to cape for him.
But no, I've already said what I had to say about Holding. Him and Ben White. I think it's the whole thing about the players in front of him. There was no one there to help him, support him, and that's why they kept going off. Especially Holding in particular was that left-hand side because again Spence was a problem for the two guys on that side. As for performances as a whole, I mean, I agree with King. I don't think there was any standout poor performance. I think it was more of a collective, and the fact there is that massive gap in midfield which really needs addressing, especially for Liverpool on Thursday because Xhaka won't be available surely if he's just gone off COVID.
No, but I think he hasn't trained all week, so he may be coming towards the end of his isolation. I think reports came out the other day.
I see a comment there from Big Dog, and I think we might have missed ESR there.
Yeah, definitely, 100% we did.
I think he could be the kind of player that would be able to bring the ball from the back, give the guys in defence a bit of help, not necessarily the defending side of things, but bringing the ball back out. But yeah, I have to agree. I'd only echo what King says. I think there was maybe Cedric, but yeah,
I don't know why you're not getting onto Cedric for.
I lost my patience with him.
No, it's not like he had a bad performance, Gumsy, yeah. But what I'm saying is, like, now the way I look at things, yeah, is the like-for-like quality drop, yeah. Like when you haven't got your first team players, you look at City, you look at Chelsea, that you're not seeing a big drop in quality when you're bringing someone else in. You're still seeing that level or close enough to that level. That person is also able to compete with that first team player. So their competitive level is like raising, like their
I hear that, but I think
on the training pitch.
I agree with what you're saying, but I think we're basing it off our personal opinion of Cedric, not actually Cedric's performance today.
Yeah, but
I think that's why
he's supposed to be
the reason why we lost.
Did he really?
But the level is different.
But Tomiyasu going forward hasn't really done much in the sense of us saying, I said, Tavares and Tierney do more on that side of things. I think to kind of, as I said, I'm not saying we're scapegoating Cedric, but it's because of previous games, we're saying Cedric's not good enough. But actually today, again, it's definitely more than just one person in that team. And I think it's very much a case of we didn't know how to play against a team that sat in like that. I really think we haven't. I'm trying to think of a game this season where a team sat deep.
I'd like to see a fallback option at right back. Like if we are chasing games or if we do want to be more aggressive, that is better going forward. That can kind of offer you that balance. I mean, Aspilicueta can play at right back, Chalobah can play at right back, and James can play at right back. And James has got injured, and they're looking at another right back. Like what I'm saying is, like to kind of.
I think it's left back. I think it's left back there.
If I look at taking aside the context of this game, I'm talking about the game kind of showing that our squad needs improving, and me looking at the squad areas that I think we could improve on the most. And I think it is that midfield, that striker and cover right back area that we're looking at now.
100%.
What about a cheeky, little cheeky 10 million for Jed Spence?
Yeah, I'll take him all day
Yeah,
long. My son's next to me
definitely,
watching it saying,
100%.
we need him. That's what we need. But again,
100%.
that athleticism is unreal.
He's
And
a
again,
ball of
they
It's what you
nullified
need.
Martinelli.
You know, like,
They
it's
nullified
just
him.
said
Like,
that
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
athleticism.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, I do, as I said, I think as a collective today, and again, it is the drop off. We've all spoken about it. We've probably got an 11 at the moment that is fourth, fifth best in the league. Maybe not on paper, but the way they're playing. But after that, there is a drop off in the quality. So again, I've had fans saying to me, "Why have we let Maitland-Niles go if we haven't got a replacement?" And I said, the only way it doesn't make sense letting Maitland-Niles go is if we don't get in someone better than Xhaka, and that's not being disrespectful to Xhaka, but if you improve on Xhaka, then Xhaka takes Maitland-Niles' place in the squad, and Maitland-Niles has gone out the back door. And now we've improved as a collective. Whereas if we bring in a stopgap who's going to play back up to Xhaka, it's pointless letting Maitland-Niles go. So it only makes sense if we get better than Xhaka. However, if we get a player in next week, I expect Xhaka and that player to be starting from next week. That's what, if Xhaka's back fit against Liverpool, I expect to see Xhaka with a new centre midfield partner. On Thursday.
You just mentioned it. I wouldn't mind a cheeky loan for Wijnaldum.
Yeah,
I'll take him. I'll definitely take him.
Yeah.
Me
right,
too.
we're going to get into some of these comments quickly before we wrap up. If by some miracle, I'd love to get a midfielder in for the North London derby, but this club is notoriously slow. I think we will get one. I think by next week we'll have a centre midfielder. There's no way they can go into that game with just Sambi and Xhaka, especially with COVID.
It's going to be Arteta, isn't it?
Yeah, and again, who knows how Xhaka's going to feel when he comes back. Say just off topic, my team had a game today. The referee, quite a young lad, about 25, I would say 26.
The thing is as well, though,
Sorry, 1 second, Gunnar. He refereed a game before our game. Then he was doing our game 20 minutes. He said, "Look, guys, I've got to stop. I feel like I'm going to pass out," and we had to make sure he got home safe. So again, Xhaka coming back from COVID, you don't know what. He might be free of COVID, but that might take a toll on his body. So we definitely need some extra people in there just in case. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, sorry, Gunnar, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, I think this result might even sort of force the hand of trying to get something done before the derby as well.
Definitely.
100%.
Yeah, and Judge Dredd the Law, I like that name. Big up, gentlemen. Lousy performance, no passion, non-existent midfield, shambolic passing, threw it away, but we move. All we got is Carabao Cup and top four. And Gunnar King, as you said, we're going to bring it back for what we said earlier. You was kind of happy to let go of the FA Cup. When we gave the prediction, you was kind of saying like top four is the most important thing. Rotate the squad for this game. If we go out, we go out. And yeah, not saying you got your wish, but I knew straight away you said you was on the show today. I thought there won't be no stress on your side because long term we're looking at top four means more to us than the FA Cup this year.
But just to add, sorry, Gonza, I feel that this transfer window is probably equally as important as summer's transfer window.
Yeah,
because we have to get this right. Because this opportunity, I mean, I said it in one of the streams back in December that I'm prioritizing the Premier League with the opportunity that we have. Same thing, what Gunnar King's saying. I feel that if we get this transfer window right, if you get, whether it's a loan player, whether you buy someone permanently, get it in those key positions, and if we can get out of January this month on still in top four, I think we've got every chance because the players will shortly start trickling back from AFCON, but it's whether or not overall is collectively, not just the team. I'm talking about Arteta, Edu, the Quonkies, whether they back them with money or whatever. If they can get this right, then I think we've got every chance. So it's not, for me, it's kind of like, obviously it's not a performance that you want in the day. You don't want to go out in the FA Cup. Obviously we won it most times out of any other team. But at the same time, if we can capitalize on the fact that, okay, we've got less games, so our players should be more fitter than most teams. I don't know what's going on with the stream at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna come to you. We're gonna. I don't know who's trying to change it, but we're gonna come close to you.
But yeah, like I said, I think this transfer window is important. It's vital. It is vital.
Yeah, and I think the sounds from we're getting, it sounds like we have got money to spend. Again, it's no secret we've put in bids for players, so it sounds like we have got finances there to go and actually spend on bringing in permanent transfers, not just loans. So yeah, I think time will tell, and hopefully we get the correct players in. We're going to get to a couple more comments quickly. So Arsenal was famous for their midfield. That's what won you so many trophies. Yeah, and we've kind of come away from that. We changed that philosophy a few years ago, went for them small technical players, and that never really worked for us. But what you're seeing coming in with Partey, if he gets back to some form that he showed before he went to AFCON, he was a big miss again today. But again, we need more than just him, because if he has another dip or an injury, then we're back at square one. So, Big Dogs, he said he's not really angry, he's just more deflated. I agree with that.
I think that's a good thing as well, though. That shows where we've come. Like, because I've been looking at the comments here, and no one's really going at Arteta. And I'm not saying he's scot free. Obviously, like everyone's got to take responsibility, but I think like when you've bought yourself like the form and where we find ourselves in the table, no one's saying you can't make mistakes. You know what I mean? No one's saying you can't get things wrong. Yeah, like it's like how you minimize them and how you like learn from them. I think if there's anything that he's got to learn today, I guess it's that midfield area needs work. The squad needs improving. Some of these players do need to be moved on. It's just like the nature of the beast. And
to be fair to him, he's been active in doing that. He's been the one manager I have seen who actually, when he doesn't fancy someone, you either sit and rot, like I'm not registering you in the 25, or we're actively trying to get you out the club. So I do think he's been the first manager I've seen in a long time. He's got a bit more of a ruthless streak in him. So again, it's just time. You can't get everything done in one window, and in January's case, 1 month. So you've almost got to just bide your time and do what's important. And I think what we're saying is important is centre midfield right now, and the strikers, the two most important. And then we can get to the right back situation in the summer if the money's used up and we've got the right signings in other positions. Just quickly, Arteta out is trending. Effing flip-flop fan base. If you're Arteta in, that's cool, but flip-flops are the worst. It's so aggravating. Yeah, it's a bit too quick to say Arteta out. Like, that's
how we actually fan base on Twitter, though, isn't it? It's always been the case.
Yeah. The Twitter sphere is just not the one for it, to be honest. I think you got to be level-headed. I think if you had said at the beginning of the season, look, you're going to get knocked out by Forest, but you're going to be fourth in January. In a strong position you are in the sort of form that we're in terms of like the young players that they've shown so far this season, I'd have taken it.
Yeah, definitely. And just quickly, Mr. K said top four can't be the ambition of your club, and actually at the moment it is. That's not been our ambition. Our ambition was top six. Top four would be an absolute bonus for us. We've got to be realistic where we are. We've got to build again, and we're putting the right blocks in place. So in 2-3 years' time, that might not be the target for Arsenal, but at this moment in time, we haven't made Champions League in 5 years. We've now got 1 year out of UEFA, so we've got to.
You can't compete with the top teams. You can't compete with the top teams without having the best players, like access to the best players, and the best players invariably want to go to teams that not only qualify for European competitions, but that do it consistently. They're looking at that. They're looking for that stability. They're looking for that track record, like the you are a team that consistently qualifies for Champions League qualifications or Europa League. That way, they're on the shop window in the most prestigious competition in Europe. Otherwise, they're not going to come for you. So you got to focus, and that's a more realistic ambition than this squad challenging for
we never.
Both of those things make you have to be like realistic about where we are now and pushing for that. And then if we get that, then obviously the target would change. If we got I think this season, my targets would change based on the sort of business that I saw us do in the summer. So
and also it's a case of, isn't it, of actually putting the foundations in place. So we could look at Liverpool. Liverpool were never in for a title shout for you. Well, actually, they had the 1 year where they pushed it close with the Gerrard slip, but again, that was because a lot of teams have fallen off that year. But the building blocks for Liverpool is they got themselves a half decent team, and it was Coutinho, which was the difference maker for them. That 140 million brought in the Van Dijk and the Alisson, as well as a couple of other bits and around it. So what Arsenal are building now is a young squad. This 11 here might not be the 11 that take us to a title, but one good sell of whoever it may be, do you know what I mean? If we can get 100 mil for a player, that now changes everything in what our model is going to be. So this is the start of the building block, and actually Arsenal getting top 4 from where we were with the youngest squad in the league, that is a great achievement. Do you know what I mean? For where we have been and what we've been doing in previous years. So yeah, you're not gonna draw us out there, Mr. K. You're not gonna draw us out. And Barbados MUFC, behave yourself. If they ain't good enough for your team, they definitely ain't good enough for our team, because you lot are in the mud right now. So
They wouldn't get anywhere near us.
You can keep them too. To be fair, if yeah, for real, so you can keep them, mate. You keep them with you lot. To be fair, they need to be starting for you, because they do a damn sight better than what you're playing at the moment. I'll tell you that now. So, guys, right? Anything else, Mr. King? Anything to wrap up with? Give us some positivity.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm looking forward to the Liverpool and the Tottenham game. I think the Tottenham game is a must-win game. I'd even win that game at the sacrifice of the Liverpool one. You know, I think winning that game away from home for the first time since the 2012-13 season would be a massive marker.
Damn, has it been that long?
For ambitions. It's been that long.
Wow.
It's been that long.
I don't think we ever beat him at Wembley when they was at Wembley, did we?
No.
So, yeah, Lex, any final thoughts?
Yeah, kind of mirror the same thing as Gonna Kin. I just hope that this is just a little bit of a wake up call for the team to say, you know what, yeah, you had a good performance against Man City, but your job's not done. You know, you still got half of the season left. Still in a great position. Don't basically waste all the good stuff that you've done at the beginning of the season. Yeah. And I just hope that, obviously, it's a young team, so I just hope that Arteta can take that out. And plus, if we can sprinkle in a couple of players as well in key positions, that can give them a little boost to say, you know what, you've got to step up your performance as well. But I hope, decisions that he made today as well with Tavares hasn't kind of changed the mindset of the players as well. Yeah, overall, I'm still optimistic.
Decent. Silver Fox.
Yeah, I mean, look, I can only agree and echo what King and Lex are saying. Look, it was disappointing. I do love the FA Cup, but listen, we're the record holders. We need to have a year off. Let someone else have a chance, another year off, and concentrate on what we're doing, and just hope that we get these signings that we needed done soon as, really.
100%. 100%. So let's hope we don't sit on our hands next week and we get some business done early. Again, even if it's just one centre midfielder done next week, and then you work on your striker. But that centre midfielder is needed ASAP. And again, hopefully Xhaka's back pretty soon. And what was Tomiyasu out with today?
I don't actually know.
Does anyone know? And I noticed that ESI was a tight groin.
Maybe he just
maybe long term of COVID. Yeah, who knows? But yeah, so hopefully then we get a few of them guys back. And again, credit to Arteta. He doesn't moan. He gets on with it. Do you know what I mean? It is one of them things. So guys, thank you so much. Right, guys, it's been a pleasure as always. Transfer show back tomorrow afternoon, Silver Fox.
I imagine so. It's a Monday,
yeah, it's Monday. There's going to be a lot of news, especially after that performance we're putting in.
After tonight, there's going to be all sorts. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there's not Martial and Lingard. But right, guys, love as always. We'll catch you tomorrow for the transfer show, and we out of here.